And we welcome cybersecurity expert Kevin Campbell. Kevin, good morning.
Hi, Kevin.
Thanks, Art and Jennifer. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, we're all inundated with email. We forget to check. They usually trick you when you're ordering something to say, yes, I want promotions, when we really say, no, we don't want promotions. So you got to uncheck them. We also are in the political campaign season. So we can expect between now and November to have our social media, our inboxes, and even our text messages actually bombarded with messages from the campaigns. So what we like to do, I used to do, and other people, is go click that unsubscribe. Say, I don't want any more. The problem is that the thieves out there, the cybersecurity thieves, are sometimes masking those emails and using the unsubscribe to capture your credentials. So what we're suggesting to people is don't unsubscribe. Instead of that, mark it as junk, mark it as spam, block it. If it's an email, if it's a text message, go in and block the phone number. And if it's on social media, just unfollow, or if it's an ad, report the ad so that they'll remove those ads.
So I thought I was being smart by unsubscribing, and what you're saying is that we should never unsubscribe?
Well, I think that right now our recommendation at this point in time, because there's so many fake emails out there, that you're better off basically going in and blocking or reporting it as spam or junk than clicking that unsubscribe. If you do click unsubscribe, make sure that who you're unsubscribing to matches the email that you're sending back to, and that it's not, Susie from Siberia or Jenny from Jamaica that's sending that email for you. But the easy thing is just it actually takes less clicks to just say send it to spam.
Kevin, I always am blocking phone numbers because I get so much spam on my iPhone. But they just keep on coming, and they're all for Rodney. Rodney, your student loan or your mail enhancement or whatever. Like, they just won't go away, even though I keep blocking them.
Well, it's very frustrating, and I hear you on that. What they do is they use computer automated scripting, and they will just keep doing random phone numbers. So once you're on that, telescript, and if they sell it to other people, you'll keep getting there. So unfortunately, at this moment, I don't have a better way other than to block the number and just keep blocking them, and hopefully they will get tired. You can report it so that you're on the do not call, do not send to list. But the reality is they'll probably just move on and use somebody else's number, and someone else will rotate to your number.
Yeah. I've gotten to the point where I don't even answer the phone if I don't see who it is, because I assume it's a solicitor.
Yeah. I agree with you on that right away. That's, if it's somebody that's calling you and you don't recognize the number, you can just go ahead and ignore it. And there even are some relatively inexpensive, robocall blockers out there that you can use. Some of them quite hilarious in the responses. Like they'll just say hello, 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 and block the spam for you. So that helps.
You mean you program that into your phone, Kevin?
Yeah. You download, it's an app. There's Robo Killer is one of them, but there's quite a few out there. It's an app you download from the iPhone, the iStore, and it will actually, any thing, any calls that are not in your book, it will block it, and so you won't get it. And it will. You can choose a whole bunch of different creative responses to get back to them on.
But then would that also happen if there's a new legitimate person calling you, but they're not in your contact list, then they would get that robo-blocker?
Correct. They would get that. So that gets some interesting responses from people. But
yeah.
Every once in a while, when we put a net out there to capture, the bad guys and the annoying people, we do catch somebody that's a friend.
Unintended consequences, Kevin.
That's right.
So, Kevin, going back to hitting subscribe and the reasons that you've explained not to do it anymore, I want to go a step further. So, in some cases, you hit unsubscribe, and that can trigger malware or ransomware?
That's correct. And it's important that you have some antivirus software on your computer. Malwarebytes happens to be one of the popular ones that's out there. That is free for most versions of it. And, that will continually see if there's viruses on your computer, and they're obviously continually updating it for new viruses and so on. And also will help prevent ransomware from being, inserted on your computer. I read a story yesterday about a school district that had to shut down school for 3 days because one of the administrators had got ransomware on their software. And that, unfortunately, is on the uptake. And, that's people trying to seize control of your computer, and then they basically say in order to give it back to you, you have to pay them money.
One of the reasons that I enjoy having conversations like the one we're having with cybersecurity expert Kevin Campbell is that for the average person, it is so hard to keep up with all of this. And, just the last few minutes have made me look at, some of my habits completely differently.
Yeah, and frankly, for me, I've got a team of people that are monitoring this and working on it, and they're tapped into all kinds of networks and stuff. And it really is an area that you can benefit from specialization. I mean, our data is so important to us, and our personal data is really important. So making sure that we're staying tapped into the latest is really important. I also want to put a plug out there for two-factor authentication. Again, the single best thing you can do in addition to your password is two-factor authentication if it's offered by the site. All the banks offer it, for example. So even though it requires a second step, take a minute, agree to two-factor authentication. It's like having a second lock on the door, and people will they'll just send you a quick text to your mobile phone. It's a double verification that's you. But boy, it is something that is growing in importance that we all have.
And it sounds like that's pretty easy to do. If it's offered, we just say yes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
it just takes you a few minutes to sign up, and then it takes you one extra check on the way in. But it's like having an extra check for you, but it's also a double verification so that the bad guys can't just hack your password.
And
be able to.
When I'm in a hurry, sometimes that's frustrating, but then I remind myself by doing it that way, I've made it much harder to get hacked.
That's exactly what you have to do, right? That should be awesome. To remind yourself, it's an ounce of prevention, right? That helps us in the long run. And certainly, like you said, Art, reminding yourself that, if I happen to get hacked and then I have to spend a lot of time undoing that, I will have saved a lot of time. So it's a minute extra now pays off a long ways.
No doubt. Kevin Campbell, thank you for your time this morning. Maybe we can chat down the line.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin.
Terrific. Thanks for having me on, and you guys have a great rest of your day.
You too, Kevin.